So yeah, this is Pruthvi Raj KSB. I am Pruthvi Raj KSB. I am 2022. I cleared the IFS exam 2022 and I am a 2023 batch IFS officer. So in this video, I will be mainly focusing on the strategy for the UPSC Prelims examination and how to go about it, the IFS examination, the detailed strategy for each paper, and finally we'll also touch upon interview, the personality test as well, and finally I'll also take up your questions. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section, which I will be answering at the end. So a brief introduction about myself and the preparation journey. I graduated from JSSAT Bangalore. I am a mechanical engineering by training, and coming to the UPSC exam, this was my second attempt at IFS. In the first attempt, I missed the prelims by 3 marks. So in the 2021 attempt, I missed the prelims by 3 marks, and in 2022, I scored well above the IFS cutoff, and then eventually I went on to secure All India rank 57. And this strategy will also be helpful for those candidates who will be preparing for the IFS exam in the time gap between the Civil Services Mains and the IFS Mains exam, because that is what I did. I just had around 60 days between these two exams, and both the optionals for the IFS exam were new for me. So I had just 60 days, and so I'll also go about how we can do that within that short span of time. So how to strategize your preparation, and also the biggest hurdle for the IFS exam is the prelim stage, because as you know, you have to score at least 15 to 20 marks more than the civil services prelims, and for the last few years we have been seeing the pattern of the UPSC prelims. It's become very unpredictable, and in such a scenario, how do you ensure that you score marks well enough to clear both the forest services cutoff and the civil services cutoff, is something that we will be discussing. And so the structure of this video strategy for you is going to be like this. Firstly, I will be dealing about how to go about the prelims exam, and then we will go about how to strategize for the IFS mains exam, especially for the candidates who are appearing for IFS mains this year. Hardly 45 to 50 days are left for the mains, and this is where you have to be putting in lots of time towards your preparation, because this is doable. Although the syllabus and the optionals may look daunting, but it is doable within this period of time. So we'll be talking about the main strategy as well, and finally we will touch upon the personality test related strategy that you can follow. So beginning with the prelims examination, we have been seeing that the uncertainty is only increasing year by year, but still I believe that a well-crafted strategy that focuses on the fundamentals, that focuses on the basics, is what you need. And I will not be going in detail into the booklets and all, because that is easily available online, and more or less the book list for every topper remains the same. But I will rather touch upon how to read those books, how to remember those books, and how to use the knowledge that you have gained from the basic books that you study to actually apply during the prelim stage. So the the fundamentals needs to be really strong for the UPSC prelims examination, and you can never neglect the NCERT textbooks. This year we saw, I was going through this year's paper, the last year's paper, so very fundamental questions are asked from the NCERTs. This year we saw that question on uh, chodas, that it was a very straightforward, simple question. So yeah, I'll tell you how to go about these basic books, how to read the NCERTs, how to read the bare minimum books that you have. So coming to the NCERTs, what you should be focusing on really is the uh, the factual portion of it. NCERTs are written in such a way that it's written in a very story-like format, right? So the writers take you through a journey through the history. But what you should really focus on is the factual aspects given in the NCERTs. Those facts are directly asked in the UPSC prelims examination. There are boxes given in NCERTs on the margins. You have to be carefully reading those boxes. You have to be making note of them. And if I can go subject wise, for history themes, NCERT themes theme 1 and theme 2, the history and the ancient history and medieval NCERT textbooks, they are most essential. The maps given there, the diagrams given there, the various tidbits that are given in those margins, every one such factoid is directly asked in the exam, and you just have to read them again and again so that they are sort of imprinted in your memory. Just give me a second. Yeah. So then what you should be doing is if possible, you can even make short notes for out of NCERTs. Just you can jot down the tidbits that are given there in the NCERTs, the factoids given there, because these are the questions that are going to come in the exam, and you cannot afford to miss on these questions. So these are really important. You should be very thorough. You cannot afford to go wrong here. And even for polity, the Indian Constitution at Work, Politics in India Since Independence, these two textbooks, they are very important. Especially the Politics in India Since Independence, if I have to say, this is the only book that you can refer to for post-independent India. Everything is given in that textbook in a very organized way, and the questions about the political parties, they are directly taken from this textbook. We have seen, like, every other year, if not every year, every alternative year, we see questions from these textbooks. Questions on political parties: who was the founder of Swatantra Party, who was the founder of XYZ Party, which party came to power, which was the first non-Congress party to come to power. All such questions, they are taken from this NCERT textbook, that is Politics in India Since Independence. So this is with respect to polity, the NCERTs. And coming to geography, the 11th standard physical geography textbooks, both of world geography and Indian geography. The physical geography textbooks, they are very important, and these are the only two books, if I can say, that you should read, refer to for geography, except of course the mapping that you should cover with the current affairs, which I will be coming to later on. But for the fundamental reading part, these are the only two books that you should be reading: the India physical and world geography physical. These are the only two NCERTs that you must be reading, and questions are directly asked from here: the percentage of groundwater percentage to the total percentage of water on Earth, and rotation of the Earth, how are days calculated, then questions on ocean currents, climatology. All these questions are asked from just this one textbook, and of course the same questions, the same questions with related to the India physical geography, from that part, that textbook covers the questions from India Physical. So these are the only two books for geography. And coming to economy, I followed Brunal sir's notes. I can understand that they are a bit bulky. They have got they have tended to become bulky year on year. The sir keeps adding on updates. But if you can read, and if you can distinguish what is to be revised in second and third reading, and if you can only revise those aspects going forward, then that material is also doable. So I'll highly recommend Brunal sir's economy textbooks. Am I audible? Is there any problem? Yeah. So I would highly recommend Brunal sir's material for economy. That is the only source that you should refer to. You can skip NCERTs, you can skip other textbooks, you can skip all other sources. If you can do Brunal thoroughly, then you will be just fine. Then what else we have covered? History, geography, we have covered polity, we have covered economy. These are the main subjects, the core subjects. And yeah, in polity, of course, the Lakshmikant is always there. You should read that as well, because that gives that covers all your factual components of the polity. And so you should do Lakshmikant as well, in addition to the two NCERTs that I suggested. But this is, mind you, with respect to the static part only. We will deal with the current affairs later. So with respect to static, this is what you should do. And with respect to science and tech, yeah, science and tech, for science and tech, mostly you can go through any of the compilations that come towards the year end. So you just need to be aware of the basic principles that go into the advanced applications that are coming out these days. For example, if you have to if there is cryptocurrency is the advanced application, then you should know what is blockchain technology. So you should reverse engineer in a sort, and you should try to really understand the basic principles behind the advanced applications that are coming these days. So AI is the hot cake, if I may say so. Like, that's selling so quickly these days, and every like our day starts with AI and ends with AI. Every news is somehow related to AI. So you should be really knowing what is an LLM, what is an AI. So you should really know this one, the basic principles, principles behind this technology. And then coming to the environment aspects, yeah, coming to the environment, you can either refer to Shankar IAS textbook, or you can refer to PMF IAS textbook. Both the materials, both these sources are really good. But you should just stick to one source. I would suggest PMF IAS because it is more updated. It gives a comprehensive list of all the national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, Ramsar sites, along with mapping. So they do a really excellent job in that aspect. And even the theoretical aspects of environment, they are covered decently well in PMFIS textbook. So you should be reading that. And this is with respect to the static. We have covered history, geography, economy, polity, science and tech, environment. And yeah, coming to history, in modern history, we have to look into the spectrum is the source that usually people refer to, but I don't know how many questions are being asked and how much of utility that book is in present times. But just to have that sense of security and just to have that feeling of a sense of completion, you should definitely read spectrum. Because the facts are more or less covered well in that book, and you cannot skip that, because when a question comes from that textbook and if everyone is getting them correct, uh, uh, you should not be getting such a simple question wrong, and so you should be reading spectrum as well. And yeah, that is this is the basic minimum book list. For prelims, if I may say so, these books only give you the foundation that are required for you to attempt the exam, but this is not sufficient. uh, I'll cover the PYQs as well, how to cover PYQs and all. Yeah, definitely I will cover in this video. So the book list that I gave you, these give you the foundation. And now the question is, how do you apply them? Because the questions may not be directly asked from these books. So in that sense, in that case, how do you do? That is where the PYQs come. And I will tell you how to analyze the PYQs of the UPSC prelims exam. So in PYQs, you get subject-wise compilation that is released by many coaching institutes. You can pick any one of them. Subject-wise PYQs you should go through, and 2013 onwards is what you should refer to. You need not go beyond 2013. 2013 to 2025, these are the PYQs that you should refer to, and you should analyze them subject-wise. And when you analyze them subject-wise, you begin to see a trend, and this does not like strike you in the very first reading itself, but when you repeatedly go through PYQs, like every time you pick up history, you should start with the subject-wise compilation of history PYQs, and once you finish that compilation of history PYQs, you should go to your sources. So when you read those PYQs repeatedly, maybe in the second reading or in the third reading, you start sensing a pattern. Questions are asked in a certain way in a particular topic. Questions are asked from a particular topic. Questions are set in a particular language. So you should be able to pick up these trends. And this, although the coaching institutes can give you a compilation of PYQs, the trend analysis happens only through your effort. So once you pick up these trends, reading the books becomes so easy, because you will know how to separate wheat from the chaff, and it becomes so easy to go about the textbooks. So this you should do for every subject. And so if you have to read, so if you have to revise the entire syllabus 5 times before you appear for the prelims, then you should have at least referred to the PYQs 10 times. So PYQ should be on your fingertips. So this is with respect to the trend analysis from the PYQs. Secondly, knowing these trends, how to predict the questions that are coming to, how to prepare for the questions that will be coming in the future exams. For this, you have to go deep. Every keyword in a question, that has been asked in one of the previous years, every option, you have to research on it. For example, there's a particular question from the environment section. 4 different species are given. Probably in the next year, some other species may be given. So how do you know that? So in these 4, so out of these 4 options, one of them will be correct. You should also research about what are the other 3 options. Why were they asked? What you should make a note of it. Every keyword in a PYQ is important and has high potential of appearing in the future exams. So you should note down every keyword, research on it, make a short notes. You should research on every option, make a short notes, and you should revise them again and again. So this covers more or less the static part of the syllabus. The PYQs will give you a direction, and the basic fundamental book list that I told you gives you the foundation for the exam. And coming to the current affairs has become such a nightmare for aspirants um because of so many sources that are there in the market. So what you can do is you can just pick up one newspaper every day and follow it for the next 1 year. That's all you have to do. You should just pick up one newspaper, follow it for the next 1 year. That's it. It may be the Hindu or the Indian Express. Just pick it up. Just read that newspaper for 45 to 60 minutes every day for the next 1 year. Your current affairs will be taken care of pretty much. And coming to practice, no matter how much you read, like practicing in exam like conditions is what is most important. And for that you have to attempt practice papers. Yeah, I'll answer each one of your questions towards the end. You can keep dropping them in the comment section. I'll definitely answer them. uh, First, let me go through my outline of what I have prepared for, and I will definitely answer each one of your questions. So, coming to the practice papers. So, if you are a beginner, if you are only starting to like, if 2026 is your first attempt, and then you have to attempt both subject-wise tests and full-length tests. But if you are someone who has already given UPSC papers once or twice, and you know how it is to write a full length paper, then you should definitely stick to full length papers, the full length mock tests. You should give them in exam like conditions, preferably in the same time, 9:30 to 11:30. You should sit in an isolated place where there is no disturbance, and you should do this at least for 30 papers. So this is the least that you can do, 30 papers of full length tests. So you can give the text of you can give the tests of a bunch of institutes, any 3 or 4 reputed institutes full length tests you can take. You can appear for their all India open mock tests, but 30 is the target for if you are in your second or third attempt, because you need to acquaint yourself with the conditions that are acquaint yourself to the conditions that can be expected in the actual examination hall, because the questions will be very unpredictable. The questions will be out of the blue. They will catch you off guard. So you should be able to handle all such. And if you are aiming for Indian Forest Service exam, then you should at least attempt 85 plus questions. There is very little possibility of cracking the IFS cutoff by attempting like anything less than 85. 85 is the least minimum that you can do to clear the IFS cutoff. And even to be on the safer side for the civil services as well, you should really maximize your attempts, because you have to take some risks since the unpredictability is only increasing. You have to learn to play intelligently, and all of this practice and strategizing, this happens only when you give a good number of tests. So you should by giving at least 30 tests, you will be able to know your strengths and weaknesses. You will be knowing the ideal number of questions that you should be attempting in the actual exam, and you should never deviate from the strategy that you have devised for yourself while giving these tests. So if your sweet spot is around 90, even in the examination, no matter how the paper is, you should be attempting around 90. Plus or minus 2 is fine, but you should never really deviate. And that's a sort of confidence comes only when you put through this process of giving enough mock tests and you should be really comfortable with the process. You should be really comfortable with reading the questions, marking on the OMR sheet. You should be really comfortable with handling very uncertain, very unpredictable, difficult questions. You should be really comfortable with time management, because many a times many aspirants can't even finish reading the entire paper even once, and they just come out of the examination hall attempting 60 to 70 questions which will be of no use. So you should be able to go through all the questions in the first 60 to 70 minutes. That should be your speed, and you develop this speed only if you give enough mock tests. So you should increase your speed of reading the questions, understanding it, comprehending it, deducing the answer. So in the first 1 hour, 1 hour 10 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes, you should be able to skim through all the 100 questions, and in the first round you should be marking at least 40 questions. That is what I would suggest, because that should be your preparation level, that should be your confidence, that should be your preparation basically. So in the first round you should be able to answer 40 questions at least with short certainty, and in the second round you should answer those questions where you have eliminated two options and you have to take a chance with the remaining two options, and these are the questions that you must attempt no matter what. And you should while giving the mock test, you should know that whether the two options that you are eliminating are actually the wrong ones, or you are eliminating the right one as well. So if you are eliminating the right one and you are left with the remaining two, they will eventually be the wrong ones. So you should really that should be your certainty level while eliminating the two wrong options. So, and when you are left with such questions, so you should answer those questions in which you have a 50-50 doubt, and those are the questions that you should definitely attempt. And in this second round you should be able to cross 75 to 78 questions, and in the last round another 10 questions. That is where your intuition, your general knowledge, your incidents, your life incidents, your random discussion with friends, or news that you randomly heard somewhere, all of this comes into play, and you should attempt these final 10 questions just to increase your attempt rate to above 90. And so now you are at anywhere between 75 to 80. You have to attempt another 10 to 15 questions, and you should be like really taking an very calculative guesses here. You may not know the answers, but through your accumulated knowledge, through your PYQ analysis, through your current affairs reading, through all such sources, totally, and they may even be totally unrelated sources, you have to deduce answers for these 15 to 10 to 15 questions, because if you are aiming for IFS and if you are aiming for comfortably clearing even the civil services, you should be attempting 85 plus questions, and that is what I would highly recommend in all the test series that you do. You should be strategizing for 85 plus, and that is my sincere advice. On target for 85 plus. No matter the difficulty of the question paper, you cannot play safe, because the questions are such and the options are such that the things that you the things that you think are right, even they may go wrong, and you need to have a safety net upon which you can fall upon to comfortably clear the prelims. And I would also like to say here that prelims is also more about your temperament, your attitude in the examination hall. You should be in such an attitude, you should be, the temperament should be such that you should never be perturbed by the difficulty or the uncertainty of the exam. You should be really confident, no matter how much difficult the questions. you may get any random set. All the 15 questions, the first 15 questions may be totally random, totally unpredictable questions that you may not even have heard of, or questions that you may have skipped, questions that you may have not read. All those questions may come in the very first batch, but that is where you control your temperament, that is where you control your emotions, and you should just take a deep breath. You should just take a question as a question, and with a very calm and with some presence of mind, you should navigate through those questions. Polity questions will be easy, economic questions will be easy, geography static questions will be easy, even history questions some will be directly from NCERT textbooks. Science and technology questions will more or less be very generic, or sometimes easy. Sometimes they get difficult and very technical or very specific in nature, but more or less they will be, if they are basic in nature, they will be easy. So these are the questions that you should attempt in the first round. These are the 40-45 questions that make up you should attempt with at least 95% accuracy. And in the second round comes the elimination. The next 30 questions, the next 40 questions, you should eliminate. You should have eliminated the options in the first round, and in the second round you should make an analysis of what would be the right answer. Read the question again. Maybe some new insight comes into your mind, and that is the answer that you should choose. So this way, it's mainly practice. What I would suggest. So if you are someone giving this attempt for the first time, then at least one test series that covers both subject wise and full length, and many full length tests you should give. If you are a first attempt and if you are a candidate, then you should give at least 60 tests. If you are already given attempts, and if this is your second or third attempt, then you should be giving at least 30 full length tests, and that's all. But most importantly, PYQs, as I said in the beginning, before picking up any subject for revision, you should pick up the subject wise compilation of the PYQs, solve them, identify the trends, make note of them, research on the keywords and even the options. Try to identify the motive behind the questions, try to analyze this, all this, and then only you should pick up your study materials or textbooks for revision. And PYQs, what I would also want to suggest is, if you are targeting IFS, and if you are if you want to clear CSC prelims very comfortably, I should also suggest you to focus on the language used by the UPSC. Not many people know this, not many people tell you this, but you should focus on the language, because if you see the wrong options, there is something not very natural in the language in which the wrong options are set. The wrong options, when you analyze the PYQs, you will tend to realize that the wrong options are always those which have some defect in the language in which they are written. So if once you understand this, once you understand the language used by UPSC, once you put yourself in the UPSC question paper setter's shoes, then your job becomes easy, because even if you have no idea what the question is, even if you have not heard anything about that question, just by the language in which the options are designed, you can tell that these three options are wrong and this is the right option. So make some effort, put some effort, and maybe you have not read the UPSC PYQs from this perspective, but at least from now on, whenever you read the UPSC PYQs, focus on focus on the language used by the UPSC, because more or less the language will be defective in those options that are wrong. So then coming to the mains for the Indian Forest Service exam, you have to take two optionals. My optionals were geology and forestry, and I had I did not choose mechanical engineering because there was not very overlap between the university syllabus and my university syllabus and the UPSC syllabus, and it was already 2 or 3 years that I last read mechanical engineering in college, so I had to go with geology because many toppers suggested that the syllabus is very concise, the sources are available, guidance is available, and that is what I did not have much time to think about it. I just took geology and of course forestry, as most people take. Forestry was my second optional, and I must say that I prepared for these two optionals, and in fact for all the 4 papers of the IFS mains exam in between civil services mains and the IFS mains. So I had around 65 days time in 2022. After my civil services mains, I had some 65 to 70 days of time, and I had to cover two new optionals. My GS was sorted. I had a pretty good hold of GS. Even in UPSC civil services, my GS was my strength. So for the optionals for geology, I took classes from Planet Geology. That was an online course. I took classes from there, and I studied the study material given by Planet Geology, and also Apur Dikshit sir's notes for geology. So these two were my primary sources, and of course, if I have to really go to the basics of it, I also studied KM Bangar. And so how to prepare for geology within this short period of time? You should, again, as the strategy for all the papers is same, but you should start from the PYQs. The Planet Geology also has a compilation of topic-wise PYQs for geology, and you start from there. So you know that only a particular number of topics are repeated again and again. So if you cover these topics, the most repeated, the most frequently asked questions, you will be covering 70 to 80% of the syllabus, and that is what is needed, especially if you have less time. So I started with the analysis of PYQs, and what you should really do is, for every PYQ you should have a 2-page answer. That should be your aim. If you are really have time crunch, and if you are really preparing for the IFS mains exam between civil services and the IFS, when you have a very short window, and some of you might be appearing in this year's IFS mains, and the best strategy that you can do is have an answer ready for each of the previous year question that is asked for the last 10 years, and this way you will be able to attempt at least 70 to 80% of the questions in the actual examination that you will be writing. So this was my strategy. These are the 3 sources for geology. And coming to how to study, geology requires a lot of cramming. Like, geology requires mindless memorization. There is no escape. You have to do it. You can make sticky notes, you can make mnemonics, you can make Anki flashcards, whatever suits you, but you have to be all those chemical compositions, the names of the rocks, the names of the minerals, they have to be imprinted, and you should not be struggling to write them in your answers. You should be using them liberally, and you should be drawing diagrams, and if you think and if you think you can add value by using different color pens, you can do that. I did not do that, but many of my batchmates have done that, and they have got good marks for doing that. So if you think you can add value by differentiating the important stuff from the generic stuff, you can do that. That catches the eyes of an examiner, and hopefully you will be rewarded. That is pretty much the strategy for geology. Apur Dikshit sir's notes, planet geology classes and their study material. Apur Dikshit sir's and planet geology is more or less the same, so you can either choose any one of them. And KM Bangar for the basic stuff. And coming to the forestry optional, I really enjoyed studying this optional. It is so good. You really get to you really you can really get close to the environment just by reading for this optional. It's such a beautiful optional. Forestry, I really enjoyed reading it. I studied from Hornbill classes notes. I did not take any of the classroom programs or video lectures, but just I studied their notes. They are so good. For each chapter they have a PYQ compilation before each chapter. They analyze the trends well, and the content is also, they cover most of the content really well. And I had made a list of some 100 tree species with botanical names, and for each topic, what are the names of the trees that I should be giving examples. I had made such exhaustive lists. So if a particular for a question on social forestry is out, there is a particular list of species that you can write. If in a particular silvicultural system, you need to write a different list of species. So for and for NTFP, there is again a different list of tree species that you should know. So for there are different species of mangroves, there are different species of bamboo, and for uplifting the tribals, what are the things that you can do. So for each one of this, for urban planning, you need to have a different list of tree species. So I had made such exhaustive lists and about 100 tree species, and I was memorizing them. And there are some technical chapters in forestry optional, like forest mensuration and measurement in forest engineering, then silvicultural systems as well, then forest laws. You can't be generic in these chapters. You have to be very particular. Your facts needs to be right. You should be writing very specific answers. You should be not just writing general GS kind of answers, because understand that this is a technical optional, this is a technical exam, this is a technical service, and all that demands you to write very specific answers. So Hornbill classes notes were the only source for my forestry optional. And for forest engineering, I think Hornbill classes notes has no content for this. So I remember studying it from Manikandan textbook. So you can cover that chapter from this textbook, and more or less this is the strategy for forestry. Coming to the GK, general knowledge, since as I mentioned earlier, even in my civil services, GS was one of my strengths. So I did not face much difficulty for general knowledge paper of the IFS mains examination. The questions will be of very basic nature, definitely not in comparison to the civil services mains. However, the challenge is to complete the paper, since the number of questions asked are more, and you have to attempt more questions, you have to write more. And since the questions are basic, it comes with its own set of challenges, because everyone will know the answer. So how do you differentiate it? And that is the main challenge. So what you should do is remember this thumb rule: more facts, more marks. More facts, more marks. So this is what you should be doing in the general knowledge paper. You should use lots of diagrams, lots of maps, lots of facts. You should be highlighting them. You should be you should take the pain of making them visible to the examiner so that he need not search in your maze of answers. They should be readily visible. Your answers should be well organized, well structured, and I would also suggest that you should write at least two papers of general knowledge before you attempt the actual paper, because time is a constraint and questions from science and technology will be difficult. Mostly you will find them very difficult and you may not be able to answer them. So what you can do is take two tests, and you should adjust your speed. You should adjust the length of your answer. You should adjust the content according to the time. And so I would strongly recommend taking at least two tests of GK before writing the exam in the IFS exam. And coming to the general English, I scored one of the highest marks in general English in my batch, and for this 50 marks will be grammar. And if you cannot afford to lose more than 2 or 3 marks in the grammar section, because it is my impression that if your grammar is good, if you can score 48 plus in grammar, then rest assured you will be scoring 165 plus in the exam, in the whole paper, and that is very much doable. So please focus on grammar. You should pick up your grammar books, Wren and Martin, PYQs, find the right answer, go through the grammar rules, active voice, passive voice, direct speech, indirect speech, question tag, idioms and phrases, all of this. Then changing the form of the word, noun to adjective, noun to verb, everything, identifying the grammatical mistakes, everything you should know everything. And you can there is a compilation of idioms and phrases. You can pick it up from any random source, any publisher basically, and you can go through the list of idioms and phrases. You can go through, make a list of idioms and phrases given in the PYQ, and you should really remember them well, and you should be able to form good sentences. And in the general English paper, you cannot afford to make any grammatical mistake. Your sentence construction should be perfect, your punctuation should be perfect, and the clarity of thought that you express in your essay and in your précis, all this needs to be very immaculate, and you cannot afford to make any grammatical mistakes, punctuation mistakes, or spelling mistakes in the general English paper, because this is the paper where you can score really good marks, and you should really take good care of it. So I would really recommend you to pick up the grammar book, study them properly, and one of the strategies that you can follow is to devote at least 35 to 40 minutes every day for English paper, rather than studying it in 1 or 2 days towards the end, by which time you will be exhausted by your optional preparation and you will have no time left for English, and you will read it in a very hurried manner, and that will cost you great amount of marks in the actual examination. So this is my strategy for the IFS mains examination. Coming to the personality test, I scored one of the highest marks. I scored 210 out of 300 marks in the UPSC personality test, and that is one of the highest marks. And you need to be really thorough about your DAF. Every word is a source of inspiration for questions that the board might ask. So starting from your name to the hobbies, everything you should do a thorough deep research on all of this. Maybe we can take some other, I'll just briefly tell you the strategy about interview, because now is not the time. Maybe we can take one more session, because you have very less time for the IFS mains examination. It's just 40-45 days away. Anyway, so you should be really thorough about the environment related current affairs, the basics related to environment, the species composition in your area, in your state, any biodiversity of your state, biodiversity of India, the location of the national parks, the uniqueness of national parks of India, the uniqueness of Indian forests. All of this should be thoroughly prepared for interview, and honesty is the best policy in interview. If you do not know, you do not know, but you should come across as an honest individual, and you should also show that passion towards the Indian Forest Service in the interview. That will really boost your marks. You cannot just go there and appear just like any other interview, because Indian Forest Service requires some dedication, some passion, and interest towards nature, wildlife, and the natural world around us, and that should be reflected in your personality, in your demeanor, in your DAF. So you keep that in mind when you go to the UPSC interview. So this is, and of course you should be really thorough with the current affairs, all the current affairs related to the environment, geography, science and tech. These are mainly questions revolve around this, and of course you should carefully fill your DAF. At least one or two hobbies should reflect your deep interest in environment. So this is the strategy for interview, and after that there will be a medical test and walking test for the IFS selected candidates. You should qualify both. For the walking test, you should really practice. You have to every day you should practice. You should really time your distance. You should really warm up your body for that day, and you should really be in good shape, because you have to it may seem easy, but it is really difficult, and many year one or two candidates fail the walking test, and it will be in humid weather in New Delhi. So it's quite a task. So you should be really fit and fine on that day, and a lot of effort goes into the preparation, but once you clear the exam, you will do that, I'm hopeful. So this is the strategy for the civil services prelims, IFS prelims, IFS mains, and the personality test. Now I will be taking up your questions. Please put your questions in the comment section. I will be taking them one by one. Yeah. Is PYQ and syllabus basics study enough to crack this exam? Definitely not. PYQ is not enough sufficient to crack this exam. PYQ can only give you the trend, be it for the prelims or for the mains, but the foundation needs to be really strong. The foundation that is built upon sufficient reading of NCERTs, your basic textbooks, and current affairs from newspapers. So this needs to be strong. The PYQs give you the direction. The PYQs help in choosing the most important topics. The PYQs help in giving you a flair of UPSC language, which is essential to decode the questions. So in that respect, PYQs are important, but they are not sufficient, I would say, but they definitely are important. The next question, yes, next question. English speaking necessary for IFS? There's definitely an English paper for the IFS. General English, it's a compulsory paper, so you should be really thorough in your English, because you have to write that paper in English, and that is one of the most scoring papers. So yeah, you should know English. Any other question? Sir, how we can connect with you? LinkedIn or Telegram channel? I have a LinkedIn profile. I also have my Instagram account. So that will be shared by the channel. So you can connect me there. That is on the Instagram. Your attempts at UPSC. This was my second attempt at the UPSC IFS prelims examination. It was my fourth attempt in the civil services and second attempt simultaneously. Yeah, it was simultaneously my fourth attempt at the civil services means second attempt in the Indian Forest Service. I got through in this attempt. Yeah, so. Are these tricks really helpful? Only time will tell, but the reason I am suggesting these tricks is that you do not reinvent the wheel. You need not make the same mistakes that people make every year. So, just to avoid those mistakes, which will cost you an attempt and year, so I'm giving these tricks. The tricks basically they are not essentially tricks. They are time-tested strategies. You should be really thorough with the PYQs. You should use them as a guide to your future preparation. They give you the direction. They give you the trend. They give you the what can be expected of UPSC. They give you a flair of the actual exam. So that is, if you want to call that a trick, yes, you can by all means call that a trick. But that is not a trick. That is a time-tested strategy. PYQ should be your guiding light. Secondly, do not go behind too much sources. That is absolutely not necessary. Your foundation should be really strong. You should be reading one newspaper every day for the next 1 year till you clear this exam. So these are not tricks. These are basic strategies. These are must do's. And with respect to optionals, ask any of the toppers. 70 to 80% of the questions are repeated. So for the last 10 years, if you have the PYQ solved and if you know the answers, if you have learned them, if you know how to write them in the given space and time, then 70 to 80% of your paper will be completed just like that. So again, this is not a trick. This is a strategy. You should follow it just so that you save your time. So how to deal with procrastination? I totally understand, because motivation is very transitory in nature, and we tend to always postpone things. We tend to say to ourselves, "Kal se newspaper padunga. I'll start revision from tomorrow. I'll look into the PYQs towards the end." These are all the lies that we keep ourselves, that tomorrow never comes. So rather than finding motivation to do work, I would suggest to do work first, and the motivation comes automatically after that, because after doing the work, after completing a particular topic, after completing particular target, then motivation automatically comes. So honestly, कितना time लगा था इस preparation में? Honestly, I started my preparation in 2019. I cleared the 2022 exam, so 3 to 4 years. Yeah. So my fourth attempt at the CSC and second attempt at the IFS. So yeah, about 4 years. Can we clear without NCERT reading? Absolutely not. Please do not make that mistake. You should start this exam with NCERT. And you need not read all the NCERTs. 6th to 12th is absolutely not necessary. NCERT of economy is not necessary, and world history NCERT is not necessary. And yeah, so there are just 7 to 8 NCERT textbooks that you have to read. If I have to repeat, I'll repeat. Please note it down. 11th standard physical geography NCERTs, both world physical and India physical, and Constitution at Work and Politics in India since Independence for Polity, History, Ancient and Medieval, Theme 1 and Theme 2. Then in India since Independence, or Post-Independent India in NCERT. Yeah, these are the only NCERT, and Art and Culture NCERT, of course. These are the only NCERTs you have to read. So you have to read them, learn them, memorize them, revise them, make a notes out of them, and this is very essential. And do not take it as a burden, because these are very good books, very brilliantly written, and they explain you very well. They give you a lot of facts. Questions come directly from NCERT, so ignore at your own risk. And other than that, there is of course standard book list for standard books outside of NCERTs. You should read them. But more than all the books, what I'm really trying to say is, it is not the source that you refer to, but the knowledge that you retain, the UPSC specific knowledge that you retain. Sir, for ancient and medieval book list, please. NCERT Theme 1, Theme 2, then Tamil Nadu NCERT, 2 books are there for ancient and medieval. So these 4 books will cover everything related to ancient and medieval. And of course there is this very small book by NCERT for art and culture as well. So yeah, these are the NCERTs that. Sir, how you are maintain consistency in winter? Because in wake up time procrastination creates lots of problem. Very practical reason, especially if you are in Delhi. Fortunately, I did not stay in Delhi, so weather was not an issue. I stayed in pleasant weather, Bangalore. So that was not an issue for me, but I can totally understand your concern. But if you have that burning desire, if you really want to get out of that cycle, if you really want to get out of the UPSC cycle, and if you really want to taste the other side of life, then you should wake up, because you don't want to be stuck up there, right? You also want to do many other things in your life. And how many more years do you want to stay in Delhi? So how to improve answer writing? For answer writing, you should really get your content correct first. So without content, you can't write great answers. But even if your content is good, the structure comes only if you put that efforts. So both content and structure is important. And third comes the time management. So address them step by step. First, get your content correct. To get your content correct, you should be thorough with your foundation, you should be thorough with the current affairs, you should be thorough with the facts. For every keyword given in the main syllabus, you should have historical context, any facts related to the historical incidents, the current affairs, the latest data and facts, the latest trends, the latest examples, the latest case studies that you find from the newspaper. And when I said you should be reading just one newspaper for the next 1 year, this is what I meant. While reading the newspaper, take note of the facts that are relevant for your UPSC syllabus. Make a compilation of them. These facts will be so unique to you, and these facts will differentiate your answers from everyone else's answers, because everyone else will be reading some ready-made compilation made by some random coaching institute, but you will be quoting authentic facts from newspapers. There will be originality in the content that you write. This is with respect to content. Foundation should be strong, current affairs should be updated from newspapers, and current affairs should be compiled in UPSC mains topic-wise format. So this is with respect to content. Next comes the structure. In order to get your structure right, you should be able to understand the question, break it into parts, really know what the examiner is asking. You should really know. I'll answer each one and every one of your questions. With coming to the structure, you should really know what the examiner is asking, break down the question into parts, make headings, and you should use point format. That is what I would suggest: bullets and points, bullets and numbering. So that automatically takes care of your structure. And third, the most important is time management. You can write the best of answers, you can write the most beautiful answers, you can write the most content heavy, content rich, updated answers. But if you are not able to complete 20 questions in 3 hours, then all of your answer writing is waste. So you should really know how to speed up your answer writing. You should really practice. If you are a first timer, if you are really giving this exam for the first time, then most of your time should be spent in giving mocks, be it for prelims or be it for mains. You should really time your answers. 7 minutes for 10 marks, 11 minutes for 15 marks. That should be so ingrained in your mind. You should be able to draw flowcharts, maps, diagrams, everything in those dedicated time for each question. You should be able to box the facts. You should be able to underline important case studies or examples. So all of this is really important. So content, structure and time management, this is what you should do for answer writing to improve your answer writing. Sir, when should I start my UPSC preparation? Now I am in BTech first year from private college. If you are in your first year college, the first year should be really spent in exploring your college life, make some great friends, make some great memories, explore your college life. Maybe from second year onwards you can start really preparing for your UPSC. Sir, could you please tell your history books that you followed? Yeah, I mentioned it so many times in this video. 2 NCERTs, Theme 1, Theme 2, that covers Ancient and Medieval. Tamil Nadu 2 NCERTs for Ancient and Medieval. Then Spectrum. Then Politics in India since Independence. So I guess 6 books, that's all. Sir, is it necessary to go in depth with NCERTs for each subject? No, you should not go in depth for each and every subject. NCERTs 11th and 12th standard should only be read for history, geography and polity. That's it. Sir, I am beginner, so don't be angry, but in class you should really get help. Any tips for prelims, sir? How to clear it? So I'll tell this very briefly once again. I have covered this in the beginning of my video, but since you are asking, I will tell this once again. Every subject that you pick up, start with the PYQ compilation of that subject. You should read PYQ compilation more number of times than you read your sources or the textbooks. So you should do more number of PYQ revision than you do your sources. And pick up PYQ compilation subject wise of any coaching institute, do them, analyze the trend, identify the most important topics, then pick up your sources, read them from the PYQ perspective. So once you are done with these 2 exercises, getting thorough with the PYQs and getting thorough with your basic book list, you should solve n number of papers. If you are a first timer, at least 60 papers. This should be your target. Paste it on your wall, 60 papers. If you have not done 60 papers, then you can't comfortably clear the prelims examination. So 30 should be full length, 30 should be subject wise. Pick up, don't limit yourself to just one coaching institute. Solve the full length all India mock tests from at least 3 to 4 reputed coaching institutes. Revise your PYQs at least 5 to 8 times. Be thorough with your standard textbooks. Read one newspaper every day for the next 1 year. Hopefully this will take care of your prelims. Yeah, I forgot CSAT actually. And for CSAT there is a YouTube playlist by EduTap. So you can find it, it's free, it's available online, you need not buy any course, it's available online. There is a playlist by EduTap YouTube channel for UPSC CSAT. You can just go through those videos, they are really good. Solve the PYQs of CSAT as well. Devise a strategy for yourself. If you are strong in English, attempt more attempt all the passage questions. If you are strong in maths, attempt questions from that section. So this should take care of your prelims. If you have any questions, you can shoot me on Instagram. Yeah. Recently completed my graduation. How to start for this exam? You can go through this video once it is uploaded. I have explained in detail from start till the end how to time management for beginners. If you are a beginner, please put at least 8 to 10 hours every day if you are preparing full time. If you are preparing full time and if you are not dedicating 8 to 10 hours of your time every day, then you are wasting a lot of time, because every day has 24 hours, and if you are preparing full time, the least you can do is spend 8 to 10 hours in preparation. And in these 8 to 10 hours, what I would really suggest is 1 hour for newspaper, 2 hours for PYQs, 5 hours for reading NCERTs and standard textbooks, and the remaining 2 or 3 hours for practicing papers, be it mocks or PYQs. So this is how you should divide every day. Sir, how to analyze PYQ? Take a compilation, subject-wise PYQ compilation from any coaching institute and start reading them. Before you begin any topic, you should start with the PYQ compilation. From 2013 to 2025, you should be thorough with each and every PYQ. You should be able to know the motivation for that particular question. You should be able to identify the keywords that are asked in that question. You should research on the keywords that are asked in that question. Maybe they have not asked in the previous years, but those keywords will serve as an inspiration for the UPSC examiner to ask the question next year. So you should do that research of every keyword asked in the PYQ. You should really research about the options given in each question. Maybe it was a wrong option in PYQ, but it may be the answer in the future exam. So this is what you should do. Secondly, the language. You should really understand UPSC language, because as I said, the wrong options are the ones which has the least natural language. There is something artificial in the language of the wrong options. So try to pick that language, the grammar of the UPSC, how it sets the question, how it sets the options, how it sets traps. So this is what I meant by PYQs, and you should do them really well. Sure, you can ask any questions on Instagram. Why IFS specifically? Yeah, I grew up watching National Geographic and Animal Planet, and this is one of the best jobs available in this country. You get to stay close with nature, away from the pollution, away from the hustle and bustle of the crowded and cramped cities. So, and I was always interested in activities like hiking, kayaking, trekking, so photography, all such stuff. So that naturally got me interested in IFS. Current affairs, as I said, read one newspaper, pick any one newspaper, follow it for the next 1 year, and all the current affairs topics that get asked in the All India simulator, All India mock exams just before the prelims. Those are the those will be the most important current affairs. So if you just read one newspaper and if you take note of the current affairs that appear in the test series, you will be good to go. Sir, I slow in English. Which book recommend you, sir, from Kannada medium? ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ದವರ ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಮ್ದವ್ರು ಇದ್ದರೆ ನೀವು ದ ಹಿಂದೂ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಓದೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಂದೂ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್. ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಟೇಕ್ ಟೈಮ್. You may spend 2 hours in the beginning, but eventually you will get the hang of it. You will improve. You need not worry too much. You just need to have a dictionary, and reading one newspaper thoroughly for the next few months will help you gain ground English. For forestry, can we follow Hornbill Institute's notes? Yes, that is the only source that you can follow. I just followed Hornbill notes. I studied Manikandan for I think 2 chapters, silvicultural systems of some tree species and forest engineering. For these 2 chapters I studied Manikandan, but for the rest Hornbill classes notes, they are great, they are detailed, they come with PYQ analysis. So yeah, they are very good. Make an exhaustive list of tree species that you can use in each and every topic of the syllabus that is given in your forestry syllabus. Memorize those tree species, use them in your answers. Lack of vocabulary. You will only improve with time. If you are facing difficulty speaking English, watch good English news shows, read more, spend some time on English newspaper. Do not worry about it much, because there are more important things for you. You should clear prelims, you should clear mains. Only then you will be able to give interview, and by that time, if you are reading newspaper and if you are watching good news, English news channels, you should be able to pick up English. You should watch good podcasts as well. All right, so that's it, I guess. Should we conclude? Thank you guys, thank you so much. I would also like to thank the channel UPSC India Time for providing me this platform to share my strategy. It's been 2 years since I had interacted with the aspirants, and it feels great to interact with you. Once this video will be uploaded, hopefully you will be able to watch it. I have covered pretty much everything from prelims to the interview. CSAT, there is a YouTube channel called EduTap. They have a playlist of UPSC CSAT course. It is absolutely free. You need not take any course. Just go through that playlist. Almost all of the topics of the CSAT are covered. It is great. Thank you. So yeah, I think we should end. My pleasure. Thank you all. Thank you so much.